Ooh, g'day guys! Welcome back to Arthur's videos! Have I got a doozy for you guys tonight? Alright, you won't believe it. I'm at Jeff's place. You know, say g'day, go to the cameras.
G'day.
Yeah, there he is with a voice. It's not me going, yeah man! Alright. He's laughing. You know what the description is? Before I waffle on you guys, it is Yumcha time. Here's my sponsored cup from everybody. Here's the bottle. Look at that. The bottle that Steve-O gave me. It is going down, guys. And it's another new year. Hang on. Oh, cracking it open. Can you hear that? Here it is, the Yumcha. Oh, I'm going to pour it. Last time I didn't want to pour on his falls boards. Guys, cheers, guys. Okay. Oh, mate, hit the spot, you know. Oh, Jeff doesn't drink, you know. So I didn't want to shout him a drink because he's not a drinker. Okay, I've got the whole full crew here. Even when the Gibbs come out of the out of my cupboard or out of the closet from home, Jeff reached out to me through the usual tracks. There it is, there, the vision impaired sign. He saw it, and he saw that what was the video? The hot canary, wasn't it?
Hot canary, yeah.
Yeah, he saw the hot canary. So there's the see-through Japanese panties, the bedsheet with all the stains and other stains. We're not going to mention what's on there. I did shoot the video on this mech. I'm going to reveal it now. There it is there. I'm at his house. There it is there. That's the Inca sun, basically. As I said to you, it is in good nick. It's a Regal Super 22, like I said to you many times. The 22 it's got 22 numbers, basically. That's why they called it a Super 22. And you can sort of see how good the foam and chrome is. You know, even the how long do you have this?
Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, there you go, 8 years. Oh, basically you found it 2 weeks ago on a website. But yeah, have a look at this. How good? Look at the chrome. You can see me in my white t-shirt, basically. Look at that. Look at check the head box out. You know how nice is that? Yeah, look, that's what the pay table on this is. But I've got a story with this pay table because I copped it in the bloody cooler with this big time, you know what I mean? Big time. Yeah, check that out. How good is the chrome on this? Yeah, all done, all original, unmolested. That's how he's got it, basically. Yeah. And when I saw the coin tray, I said, did you clean that or was that it? He goes, no, that's what it is. Because if you got your machine inside in that, the corrosion's not going to give it to you, basically, and that's it. So what has he got? He's just got it on a normal table here. You know, he hasn't got a payout box. He's got it on the normal table there. But as I said to you, it's all. When I saw this baby, mate, it was in mid condition. Have a look at that. Yeah, check that out. You know, how good is that look? You've seen the mechanism and all that. So yeah, check that out. But as I said, you know, I've got it going. It's a 10 sensor. Yeah. Have a look at that. Yeah, check that out. You know, I said to him, go make sure you get plenty of 10-cent pieces. And this, trust me, this thing here has done a lot of case. Really a lot of case, okay? The reason was, you can sort of see, when I have the door open, I'm doing this, so you can sort of see. What happened was, the wheels, so how they sort of like, it's going to pay. It's a bit lagging, basically. That brass shaft inside there, I forgot to put his little meter on. I said, oh shit, don't worry man, I'll be back out here. And I'll put it in for her. I said, well, I'll play it, see how it goes. If any other bugs pop up, and I'll sort it all out, basically, you know. And I said I'll come back out for that. He's not far from me, you know. It's only, up the road. Up the road for us is just up the road. And as I've done that, so I've lubricated most of it, I've done all the stuff in that. But what happened with me, I've copped it in the frigging cooler, mate. This thing says it pays on a 9 or a 10 on the first wheel. I spent, I don't know how many afternoons working on this, trying to figure it all out. Why isn't this thing not paying the 2 coins out? Like this, I showed you on the pay table, it says 9 and 10, basically. And I've looked at it, I'm pulling my hair out, I couldn't work it out. And I rang up the old bastard and said, mate, am I going crazy or what? He goes, hey, man, have you checked the fingers on the side, you know, for your payout, those little fingers that go left and right to do the payout? I said, yeah, man, it's all original, hasn't been molested, basically. And I said, yeah, I can't get it to pay out on a 9 or a 10 on the first wheel. So I've left and I've scratched my balls for a while thinking as well, what the hell can it be? And I'm looking at hammer, I said, mate, he goes, oh, it looks like someone must have changed it back in the day. I said, really? But who knows what they've done back in the day? And I said, look, I can't do anything. Now it's going to pay on a 9 and a 10 or 2 9s and a 10 and a 9 or a scratchy in that. But it won't pay the low numbers because that hammer is designed to pay up, pardon me, for a 5 coin, not 2 coins, because of the way the hammers are. So where am I going to find another hammer for this guy? I said, nah, fuck it. So I sent him a message, the old-fashioned way, text message like the new kids do in new generation now, what they do. No one picks up the phone anymore, talks English. They don't always send messages or emoji or a finger or LOL or whatever those other fuck emojis are. So I sent it to him. I said, well, I'm rocking around over to drop it off. And he goes, oh, excellent. So he gave me a thumbs up, emoji with a thumbs up, I said, yeah, all right, no worries. Okay, so I've dropped it off here. So I told him, make sure you get some more 10-cent pieces. So he did. So he got his 10-cent pieces. I said, go for it. Yeah, so it'll lose. I reckon it'll loosen up a bit. It needs whatever, As I said, But what do you want, mate? This is in the late 60s, Yeah, for an old girl. But yeah, I think this one here has done a lot of case. Yeah. So, but as I said, another one resurrected from the dead, you know what I mean? As I said, if you got one, whatever piece of shit he's going to pay now. No, oh fuck, it's up here's the payer. I'm always looking down here's the payer. The payer's right here. So if you see it, it's here because the door's open. Because I was down here. But as I said to you, if you got one, just reach out to, where's my vision impaired sign? I've lost the vision impaired sign. Oh, here it is here. Yeah, here's the vision impaired sign. You know how I'm organised this shit. Yeah, reach out to me, send some photos like he did. He sent me a couple of photos so I could see what it is and that. But yeah, another old girl up and running. Yeah, how good is that? From the late 60s, because we opened up the head box and I found 2 coins in there from 67 and 68. I said, oh, this is like, this is probably the last of the people who used to play before it sort of ceased up a bit, basically, But as I said to you, yeah, how cool is the chroming in this? As I said, yeah. Yeah, you got to keep these things, all these old girls going, mate, because as I said, and the question Jeff asked me, he goes, oh, have you got any apprentices? And I started laughing. I said, mate, the new generation don't want to know about this if it's not on YouTube on that. That's all. But as I said, guys, watch this. Put some love into if you want to do this. Learn, practice. You can't fuck it up. But take photos when you do something. That way, when you put it back together, you know how to put it again. As I said, learn. I've spent a bit enough time on this, and that's why I've got grey hairs now. So, guys, I'm going to sign off. The old saying of mine is, what the old saying is like, pinball machines, video games, and poker machines. Poker machines and Dr. Love. Cheers for watching my videos. See you guys.